one of the elements in the environment of Uganda now is this post-colonial legacy.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you could just say a little more, because you've written about it, about how the theater serves as a place where that legacy is addressed and mediated for the Ugandan population.
Yes. There's the colonial legacy that came in and said, okay, forget performance, because performance was ritual. So ritual, funeral, weddings, circumcision, and so on, and said, no, forget. You do it through theater. There's a man called Shakespeare, and that became the form for a while. But then Ugandans thought, the Ugandan artists at that time thought, it's not working for our people. So what emerged instead was not just the Western mode, but a syncretic form. So whatever they liked about the Western mode, they took, but to really make the play, they had to look down to African proverbs, African songs, African thinking. So a new theater was born in there. And sometimes to make plays, when AIDS, for example, was prevalent in Uganda, and they tried to use theater to do it, they first came with a place called the Hydra, which is some, biological thing that is very complex and so on. They put it through schools, it went around, the population was just like Hydra. Can't find dictionaries, can't find a word. Then a local artist says, Ndiulira, which is a proverb for the worm that eats corn. You call it corn, we call it maize, that eats corn. And suddenly the theater is full, because everybody knows that proverb. They're going now, they go, Ndiulira, that stubborn worm that wouldn't listen, and then got itself into trouble. And these were the things that were used to talk to people about AIDS. Seminars were failing. Plays with grandiose English titles weren't working. As soon as those plays took on titles vested in traditional African proverbs and adages, people came in. But how does Gampisi start? Blackout, dim lights, flashlights, thunder, all that is Western. But the title is Gampisi. That's what pulls the people in. And then they dance, and the people, the chorus, they have guitars, they're playing Western world guitars, they're singing a song in Uganda. Yeah, 30 Years of Bananas starts with a dance, and they're dancing ballet and so on. They're singing the song in Uganda about the banana. So these are some of the ways in which it worked.
The current administration is building a kind of political hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
What role do we see theater playing here to call a spade? Because at the current moment now, opposition, journalists, the civil society, they are very much scared to make any comment on that because they fear for their lives.
Perhaps the most important thing about Ugandan political history I've ever heard in the country, politicians, bishops, teachers, the media say it, but the most important thing I ever heard was in a theater, in the play, 30 Years of Bananas. On page 9, somebody asks, how come Ugandans seem to have been lost between 1962 and now? I think it's a really crucial question for Ugandans. But that's again why I'm personally drawn to theater. Because at its best, without repression and so on, when the artists are free, they can come up with pertinent questions like that. Questions that I think need to be addressed. Questions that I think make it more the pity that the work of local artists is not used in schools locally. Neither Africans nor the world know that at one time Africans had leaders who were right for that continent and would have done the right thing, only that there was a Cold War with the West, and any of these leaders that seemed to be lying with one side was undermined by the other side. So we ended up losing really good, capable leaders, the Lumumbas, the Nkrumahs, and we got the Mobutus and their means, who were, what does Washington want? What does London want? That's what I'll do. So that's the post-colonial leadership we have. leaders who realize to stay in power, you have to dance with the West at the expense of your own people. I believe that once people think critically about their lives, they can be activated. And I saw this when we're dealing with AIDS. Before the politicians came and hijacked the glory of solving the AIDS problem in Uganda, the artists were at the forefront of it. We were the ones making plays, we were the ones making songs that had very little to do with the heavy-handed language that people in high places use that doesn't help the larger number of the population who haven't all had the opportunity to be educated to that level. It's the plays and the songs we did that brought the language down here, that demystified AIDS, gave a face to read, and that's when I learned that when people actually understand the problem, they start to understand how they can deal with it themselves. This is the accidental function of theater. I say accidental because I don't think playwrights or theater artists often set out with a mission or agenda. Not the legitimate playwrights and artists. At least when we are starting, if it's informed by passion, there's no agenda. When I started to write, I didn't think, let me go and get people to take these actions. Rather, I thought, let me tell this story. Let me reflect what I have seen. I believe that if the story of the reflection is well rendered, it can motivate people who are suffering to take action on their lives. So sometimes, the bigger help we need is not so much a UN plane flying over people and throwing down sacks of corn. What we need to do is to help those people to think for themselves. Because even I, as a Ugandan, I will go to northern Uganda, and then I'll go back to the comfort of Kampala city. Because that's where my life runs. So I go there, I'm unhappy for 2 weeks, I'm doing everything I can for them, then I go back. And 2 days after I've gone back, I'm going to watch Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. And their suffering is still going on. So what is critical is to help them think for themselves as much as possible.